Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're here to help you, the UPSC aspirant, stay on top of those crucial current affairs topics for mains and prelims.
That's right.
And today, well, we've got a big one. It's about a world-first global carbon tax for the shipping industry. Just agreed at the International Maritime Organization. This comes from the Hindu.
Yeah, this is really significant. Shipping, it contributes about 3% of global emissions, but it was kind of outside the Paris Agreement structure.
Right, so this is a major step.
Definitely. Happened on April 11th, 2025 at the IMO. It touches on environment, economy, international relations, all key areas for UPSC.
Okay, so let's dive in. What's the core agreement? What are we actually looking at?
So 63 countries voted yes. That includes India, which is important.
Okay.
And basically, starting in 2028, large ships, those over 5,000 gross tonnage, they have to either use cleaner fuels or pay up. There's a penalty based on their co-Euro emissions.
A penalty. How much are we talking? Is it significant?
It varies. It could be anywhere from $100 to $380 per ton of co-Euro. Depends on how well they comply.
Right.
And the potential revenue is, well, it's huge. Projections are up to maybe $40 billion by 2030.
40 billion. Wow. Okay, so where does that money go?
Good question. The agreement states it gets reinvested directly back into decarbonizing the maritime sector itself.
Ah, so it's meant to fuel the transition within the industry. Makes sense.
Exactly. It creates an incentive loop,
You mentioned India voted yes. Tell us a bit more about their position and who else was on board.
Yeah, India supporting this is quite key. They're alongside major players like China, Brazil, the EU, Norway, Japan, Singapore. It's a pretty broad coalition.
That sounds like strong backing.
It does. It shows a growing international consensus on needing to tackle shipping emissions.
But surely not everyone agreed. There must have been some pushback.
Oh, absolutely. There was opposition, mainly from oil-producing nations. Think Saudi Arabia, UAE, Russia, Venezuela. They voted against it.
Okay, predictable perhaps.
And interestingly, the U.S. abstained. Didn't vote yes or no.
Okay, so we have this historic agreement. But what's the actual impact expected to be? Does it solve the problem?
Well, solve is a strong word. It's definitely a landmark step, a huge industry finally being addressed.
But, I sense a but.
Yes, there's a but. Experts point out that the emissions reduction it's projected to achieve, maybe 10% by 2030,
Yeah.
that actually falls short of the IMO's own goals, which were aiming for 20-30% reduction in that time frame.
Oh, okay. So a gap between ambition and expected outcome.
Pretty much. A good start, maybe, but perhaps not ambitious enough for some.
And are there other criticisms?
Yes, particularly from vulnerable island nations. Their main issue is that all the revenue, that potential $40 billion, it's all earmarked just for the maritime sector. They argue some should go towards broader climate finance, helping countries adapt, aligning more with the 1.5-degree Paris goal.
I see. So a debate about where the money should go and who benefits.
Exactly. Many developing countries and small island states were disappointed. They pushed for a share of that revenue for wider climate action. Countries like Tuvalu, Vanuatu, they voiced concerns about transparency and ambition too.
That highlights the complexity, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Balancing industry needs with broader climate justice issues.
It really does.
So what happens next? Is this deal done and dusted?
Not quite. The resolution passed, yes, but the policy itself needs formal adoption, which is scheduled for October 2025.
Okay.
And crucially, lots of the operational details, they still need thrashing out. Like exactly how will revenue be distributed? How will emissions be verified? What are the compliance mechanisms? That's all still under negotiation.
So the framework is up, but the plumbing needs installing, so to speak.
That's a good way to put it. And you can bet environmental groups will keep pushing for more ambition as these details get worked out.
Right. Okay, so wrapping up for our UPSC listeners, the big takeaway is this global carbon tax on shipping is happening. India's on board.
Yes.
But challenges remain. The level of ambition, the use of revenue, how it's all going to work in practice, lots still to be decided and debated.
Precisely. And that leaves us with a thought to ponder, doesn't it?
Go on.
How do nations, especially a developing nation like India, balance these global environmental goals with their own economic realities and development needs, particularly when navigating complex international agreements like this one?
That's a really critical question for analysis, especially for mains preparation. Lots to think about there.
Indeed.
Okay, that's our deep dive for today. If this helped you understand this key development, please do like, subscribe, and maybe drop a comment with your thoughts or any further questions. Remember, today's source was The Hindu.
Thanks for joining us.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.